welcome to another episode of the MHR podcast. I'm Emma.
And I'm Andy.
How are you doing this week, Andy?
I'm very good. I'm all right.
We are flying through August.
It's getting crazily through the year at a fast rate, isn't it?
I know.
I didn't think we were...
Not to sound all businessy, but we're going to be flying into Q4 and then it's Christmas.
Q4 on the doorstep. No, thank you. I'm not ready
Christmas.
for that. I want to process summer first.
I love
Thank you
Christmas.
very much.
I'm very excited by Christmas.
Okay. All right, then.
So, I wanted to lead today because I wanted to talk about something that I think is very close to our heart as an HR company, but also as marketers, which we both are, which is LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. We're going to talk about LinkedIn today,
We're
finally.
going to talk about LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And effectively what it means to build a personal brand on LinkedIn and the perils of potentially doing it a little bit wrong as well.
Can we talk a little bit about LinkedIn and how we use it first? Is that all right?
Okay, go on. You tell me.
So
tell me how you use it.
I quite like LinkedIn. I think this is a reflection of how boring I am as a human person. Says it all, really, doesn't it?
I wonder what he's going to say then.
Yeah. So I, as a marketer, I'm very aware of like social media, trends, all this stuff, and I'm not active on social very often. To me, social media is about the deal you want to make with it, right? It's an exchange of data. It's an exchange of personal information. Do what you like on it, but you've got to accept that the more you put in, the more something you're going to get out of it in different ways.
It's a digital
but
footprint,
it's a deal. It's a deal, right? You've got to just be very aware of what you're putting out there online, and you've got to be very aware of what you're going to get out of it in return. That's just an exchange. I don't like putting loads on, just because I also don't think my life is of much value to other people. But I also don't think it's very interesting.
That's a very sad thing to say,
No, I don't
Andy.
agree with that. But what I'm saying is like, I'm amazing. But I also think the more I think people lose touch of how interesting they are. And how interesting it might be to other people. Like I think you can use it really effectively, and you can give people really good updates, or you can use it to network, and I think it's really good. Some people don't know when to not share. And it's like, why are you sharing? Is you sharing because you want something back? Are you sharing because you're looking for validation on something?
Yeah.
What are you using it for? So the reason I liked LinkedIn is because it seems to position itself very well around this corporate commercial environment. There seems to be many unwritten rules about how you use LinkedIn, which isn't kind of there when you sign up. It's more of a social etiquette.
Yeah.
That's not why I enjoy it, but I just think it's very interesting. And I think
rules, Andy.
No, it's not that. It's just so you look at Facebook or Instagram or X or any of them, right? And it's all about we're all learning. It's all chaotic. It's quite personal.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, you're coming in and it's like, I'm going to use this because I'm very aware that employers or employees or whatever, anything to do with my work life is revolving around this. So I'm not going to use it for my vanity project mainly. I'm going to use it to help build my career.
Yeah.
So not that I'm saying that's exciting. It isn't necessarily exciting, but you really know where you stand.
It has a very set purpose, doesn't it? Because, as you say, because it's built on a professional network, it creates that kind of barrier between what it should be used for versus not necessarily what is inappropriate, but perhaps wouldn't be received in the same way as if that was on, say, as you say, Facebook or Instagram or whatever.
And to me, because it's so well defined in its use, I don't find myself like doom scrolling. Or I get stuck in a loop of reels or videos or anything. I'm like, why am I, automatically going to LinkedIn to filter 30 seconds because I'm at a bus stop? Or I'm bored on the sofa. You don't do that. I don't do that anyway on LinkedIn. Whereas I might do on other social media apps. I'm like, actually, this is just a very unhealthy habit. I don't feel like I have an unhealthy relationship with LinkedIn because it's doing something for me. It's cataloguing my CV. It's giving me good networks and contacts. But it's also not eating into my personal life. So that's why I like LinkedIn.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's summed up quite nicely here that it's a great place to build your personal brand, showcase your skills and expertise to potential employees or clients as well.
Yeah.
It's a great recruitment platform. It's also a great retention platform in the same ilk. And there's a lot of benefits that you can take from using it in an effective way. I mean, for myself personally, it's been something that I've used quite heavily in the past in previous roles where I have been more external facing. And I think both you and I can agree in the roles that we're in now, we have more of an internal, position than perhaps what we both have had previously. But certainly it was a great way for me to connect with, and I don't like this term, but I'm going to use it, like-minded professionals. But likewise, creating an environment where I'm surrounded with people who have the same interests as me from a professional point of view. And it's a good break, because outside of work, you can't build those same relationships. You have friends from, say, school or something like that, family, that won't quite understand that. But actually, we spend, 60+% of our time at work. And so it's a different kind of relationship that you can build there. And what I wanted to touch on is how you can really utilize LinkedIn to build that personal brand, build those networks, build those foundations, and really set yourself in the best light. So, firstly, I just wanted to point out the importance of having a good, strong personal brand. So, this doesn't necessarily have to be on LinkedIn. This is more of just a general statement, but certainly from a LinkedIn point of view, it's where you can apply it. Strong personal brand will help you to build authority in your field. So if you're, showing like-minded thought leadership pieces, creating your own, in fact, attract trust and credibility. So in the same way, really looking like you know what you're talking about. Establishing yourself as an expert by, positioning yourself amongst peers of a similar level. Also get new business opportunities. So we know as a business that it's a great opportunity from a kind of business development tool as well. And we know of a lot of like-minded B2B businesses that use it in the same way. And from a personal point of view, to also get noticed by recruiters and potential employers. We could talk on a whole other podcast about a recruitment strategy built around LinkedIn and, what you can attain from that.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because that personal brand, when that clashes with your professional brand, that's when I think LinkedIn is very interesting. I think we've probably got some stuff for this later in this podcast, but the thing, so for example, we work together. You're used to seeing me in a suit and a tie, and we do this podcast, and we talk about all things marketing or HR, payroll, finance, all of this stuff, right? And that's the brand that I've built at work. But if I was then go on LinkedIn under that title, under that role, and then start talking about some weird lunch I made on Saturday, you'd be like, why? I don't it doesn't work. Do you know what I mean? So, and I think that's where LinkedIn's interesting, because I think some people, when they use it in a very personal way, it contradicts what they're trying to do on a business platform.
I completely agree. I mean, if you was to then show me your, your craft beers and your fancy pizzas that you go for, that you'll only get from the best shops.
You're making best some
ingredients.
Assumptions about me there.
No, I'm making accurate. Insights, I'm afraid. It would be different, because you do. It's not changing your persona, but it's creating a more professional kind of skin, I guess, over who you are.
And the points you raised there as well, like a lot of those are about making sure that if you're creating a brand or you're creating a profile that is going to help people see value behind having a connection with you. Because at the end of the day, it's a business platform. So 8% of the people there are doing that because they want to make money some way or another. And now, if they can connect with you and create relationships, that's just going to help some business opportunities. So it's not just about positioning yourselves as someone who's a good salesperson or a good business connection, but it's also going, I'm an expert in my field, which is why I have value of being in your feed.
I think you've absolutely nailed it there. It's not about self-promotion necessarily, but it's about sharing your unique value proposition. So you're absolutely right. What can I offer to you to make both of our lives better? So I just wanted to jump into a couple of really good examples. Again, as a marketer, I probably could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
But I wanted to put in a couple of what I consider to be key examples of creating a strong personal brand, and a couple of faux pas as well that I implore anybody listening to this podcast to also avoid. The first thing, and I think this one's fairly straightforward, is to make your profile photo look professional yet simple.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first thing that a lot of people see, kind of after your name. So, try and avoid something where, you've got a big glass of wine in your hand or something like that. Make sure that the photo is high quality and is representative of your brand. Yeah. So if you work for a very visual company, certainly one that invests a considerable amount into their marketing, you want to make sure that that's reflected in what you post. Also ensure...
Would it be fair to say that
go on.
The rules that you would take for your LinkedIn profile picture are probably in a similar way along the lines of what you should consider if you were doing a dating profile app, just to a different audience, right?
In a sense, I guess, yeah.
In both respects, if you're a business person and you've got a big picture of yourself holding a fish, no one's interested in on Tinder or LinkedIn on that. It doesn't show what you're good at business or whatever else you want to connect with.
If it's a post of a dog, I'd be a bit more interested, though, to be fair.
I think it's interesting, though. Like when you see your colleagues and it's like a very personal selfie.
Yeah.
Or it's just very or it's a very, very, very old picture of them that they've used.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this isn't a true reflection of who you are.
Well, that was the next one I wanted to come on. Avoid catfishing. Ensure that your picture is actually up to date and an accurate representation of who you are and what you look like now.
Okay.
Because that can just be a bit disconcerting and a bit confusing. Also ensure that you've got good lighting. Don't include other people in your profile picture as well to avoid confusion. And maybe just a little smile.
Hi, my name's Greg. Great to connect. Nice to see you, Greg. Oh, I like your glasses. No, that's not me. I'm the guy third row from the back in that picture. Nice to connect. A bit weird, isn't it?
I'm actually the one that's a little bit short, 3 fingers.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, it just doesn't quite work in the same way, does it? The next one is to create a short and out-of-the-box headline and avoid cliche words as well. So your LinkedIn headline after your name and your picture, of course, is one of the first things that people will see when they visit your profile. So ensure that it's short, interesting, and out of the box. So it should mention 3 key things: your expertise, your experience, and your industry. So avoid using cliche words like hard worker or creative person or go-getter.
I think mine the default is my job title. That's wrong then, isn't it?
No, this is looking more at your kind of introduction that you have in the next.
Okay.
Do you even have one?
No.
Oh, Andy, that's a bad example. I do, if you want to check out mine. It's very good. But no, it's a good way of showing a little bit of personality whilst at the same time presenting your elevator pitch effectively. So who are you? What are you good at? What can you offer to an employer? And yeah, the cliches just don't really go down very well. I think with this one, Andy, I think we can apply the similar kind of rules that you would apply to CV writing. I'm
literally updating my LinkedIn profile as you talk, so keep going.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
See? Lessons are being learned today. Yeah, it's important to also highlight your accomplishments where appropriate as well. Whether that's talking about your qualifications, whether that's talking about key achievements at work, nothing too sort of show-offy. Let's keep it short and keep it sweet. But enough that you can pitch yourself in the best way. So I think the best way I can put it is think about what you would have as your opening statement for your CV.
Okay.
We don't have all day to write it. We don't have all day to read it. But it's a good summary of what you can offer. Another good example is your LinkedIn banner. Make sure that that's representative of what you do, both as a business or as an individual in that business. Keep it simple, keep it clean, and highlight what makes you unique as well. Super, super important.
Right.
Now we've got the aesthetics out of the way. I want to jump on really quickly to the actual content that you put on.
Okay.
So I'm going to talk about some positives and some faux pas on this one.
All right. Okay.
So we in marketing, right, we know that content is king in a digital world. Mm-hmm. It's become a very overused statement in marketing these days, but it's absolutely true. So the LinkedIn algorithm loves fresh and unique content that's going to resonate with your audience. And the way the algorithm works is the more engagement that you get on your content, the more visible that they will make you moving forward as well.
Right.
And so that will increase your chances of visibility. It will increase your chance of your kind of profile growth, and therefore the potential of the people that you may reach.
So if I worked for a company where every week we filmed a podcast video and put it out.
Oh, yeah.
And they tagged me in it, maybe my socials would perform better.
Is that a hint?
Might
Assistant
be good.
to the producer, Tom. Come on. Yeah, so a good point there is avoid posting generic content that everyone's already seen.
Yeah.
Obviously, the podcast is lovely and fresh every week. Great example. Instead, focus on creating and sharing interesting, useful, and unique posts and articles to your professional network that you think they may find helpful.
Okay.
Also take the opportunity to join groups, ask questions, start discussions, answer questions. There are a lot. There are thousands of communities on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And this is a good example of an underused resource, actually.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to network build, again, with people that are like-minded. It's also a great business development platform in that sense by using communities. And it's a great education exercise. The best way that we learn as humans is by learning from each other.
Yeah.
And it's a great platform for that. Following on quite nicely is to also use multiple content types. So consider things like creating infographics, short videos, articles, podcasts, to keep it different. Again, from an algorithm point of view, LinkedIn really like to see different types of content. It's also a great way to see how, people such as yourselves engage with content as well, to see what works for you.
Yeah.
If you're going in with the same kind of content repeatedly, there's a chances are that your audience that you're looking to reach are going to switch off, which nobody wants. And then I think a way that I'll probably wrap this up, and this one is super, super important, is to interact and engage with others and show empathy.
Okay.
It's an absolute no-brainer that the way that you build your communities on LinkedIn is by engaging with others.
Okay.
Just speaking out to an empty crowd isn't going to get you all that far. But a great way of doing that is, sharing, liking, commenting on posts. But you could also go that one step further by sending personal messages as well, leaving comments. So when you reach out to someone, you could mention something that you have in common, or that you enjoyed about their post, and that will, give them some common grounds to start speaking with you. And always remember to be empathetic. We've all gone through tough times.
Yeah.
Boo. So take the time to show compassion and understand, what others are going through. And I feel like on LinkedIn of late, there is a lot more of that. Certainly post-pandemic, I think some of the guard has come down in terms of what people will talk about and be a lot more frank in terms of what's happening from a business perspective and from a personal perspective that's also impacting business life. And it's good to get involved with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's obviously limits, but it's a good thing to get involved with.
Yeah.
So, on the flip side, on the contrary, this is where I want to talk about some examples of bad LinkedIn behaviour that needs to get in the bin. I thought you'd be more interested in this one.
I think what you've talked about is great there. I've actually used it to update my LinkedIn profile as we're talking. Though I haven't changed the picture because the heavily filtered black and white one I've got is going to do me more justice than this podcast does. But I think that's really helpful. But I do think a lot of us are more overly familiar with the bad practice of LinkedIn, and I think that is where we need to educate ourselves on what people are doing wrong.
I think it's quite easy to get the eye roll out when you see certain posts and certain post types. Anyway, so this is what I want to look at.
Okay.
So, an easy one, just on the flip side of what we were talking about before, is use of inappropriate images.
Right. How inappropriate are we talking?
I mean, I will leave that to your will to discuss.
I think I'm fine. Yeah.
So let's talk about this. This isn't a dating profile.
Yeah.
This isn't an opportunity to show off your best assets. This is an opportunity to show off your best smile, of course.
Yeah.
But not the opportunity to, present your best self.
It undermines your business credibility, right?
Yeah.
As well.
Absolutely.
Right. Also, this isn't an opportunity to be looking through other people's pictures and trying to connect with them that way. Come on.
No. Although I did see a post in the newspapers yesterday about a woman who has started using LinkedIn almost as a dating platform, because you can do filters on things such as, who they work for, what their qualifications are. Her response was, and also obviously what they look like, hence this bit. But one of the things she said was, it's just a shame that you can't have a filter for their height.
Oh, no. Sorry, Graham. Thanks for reaching out. It looks like we would be a really good match, but I don't know if you've hit your annual KPIs.
Also, from your picture, you're clearly around 5'2", which isn't going to fly for me. Sending in personal invites. So, again, going back to what I was saying before about being empathetic and being kind of personable, there is quite a difference of that versus kind of taking it that one step too far of being overly friendly.
Okay.
Because it's not the platform to do that. So, inappropriate requests from strangers where there's no real, necessary need to do that. Also, the more generic invites as well. So if there is somebody that you're interested in and you just have I'd like to add you to my professional network on LinkedIn.
Why? What do you offer me?
I'm like, okay. So you've just done a big search of people with my job title, maybe?
Yeah. But that was like the Twitter approach, wasn't it? When that was kind of early, it was about the number of followers. So it didn't matter about the substance or the exchange that you'd have with each other. It was all about actually just, it would look good if I had loads of followers, and if you follow me, then that's great. Rather than, and I think LinkedIn's cleverer than that. It's not about the number of followers. It is a bit, but it's also more about actually the right people are in my network. So as a result, this is offering me more value.
The good thing is as well, I guess, is that with LinkedIn, you have more control. You can choose for that person to not connect with you if you don't want to do that. Yeah. Whereas Twitter's a good example, unless you go into private. I can't say Twitter, X. Is a good example of where you can't necessarily control that. It's a lot more free-for-all approach, which doesn't work for everybody.
I think we should be more conscious about if something on your feed is annoying you and anyone is doing any of the things that you're reading out right now, we should feel free to comment on their post and go, I'm disconnecting now. Like, that's what we should just say.
Oh, I'd love that. You're boring me, Graham.
I'm actively disconnecting.
Good day. I do that. Actually, what I would love to do that too is my third point, which is sending spam or unsolicited promo messages, like a request for an appointment or, book a conversation with me right now. And I'm like,
You know what I hate more is the ones where they've messaged you 2 or 3 times, you've deliberately ignored it because it's of no use to you. I'm just calling back to pick up on this conversation we're having about this. Is like, no, we haven't had any conversation. We've had no conversation. And then I'll email you as well somehow. And
that's the thing, isn't it? With those kind of things, they always figure out what your email kind of extension would be and what the front would tend to look like based on others that they've looked at. That's a pain in the bottom. Could not agree with you more there.
Hi, Andy. Are you still willing to talk about this? I didn't. No, I never read it. Go away.
I once had, and this was here actually. This was here. Somebody on LinkedIn that reached out to me that I ignored because they were getting very spammy and it was quite inappropriate. They then called reception, saying that they'd had there was a call already organised with me, and that actually came through.
That's a bold sales tactic, isn't it?
That is a bold sales
tactic. Let's
go
into this sales meeting with you angry at me. That will help.
Yeah, I mean the gumption. I respect your gumption, but I don't respect the approach.
Okay.
Likewise with bulk messages as well. That feels very impersonal. and doesn't really offer anything. Now then, I want you to give me some examples as well, because this one's a good one. Posting meaningless quotes and maths puzzles. Just so you go viral.
I feel like posting memes on LinkedIn is the modern day equivalent of when you saw like offices in the 90s with inspirational like posters with mountains just saying like,
and the sun sets, tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah, or like, you know, one step in front of the other, you know. Just that's what it is. It's just poor, weak personality coming through a terrible medium.
Live, laugh, love, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just sick of the thought of it. And there's another example on this article I'm just reading now of like these silly like IQ test things. You know, 80% of people get this question wrong.
Yeah. Take me seriously as a business professional because I'm using a meme of a minion.
Oh, God. Icon has cheeseburger?
Yeah.
I'm showing my age there, aren't I?
It's just not.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, I don't know. Humour works if you're very good at it. If you're not, it makes you look like an idiot.
No.
Trust me, I know.
Oh, now then. I just wanted to wrap this up. So we just talk about posting memes here. There's one that's called, it says, "Are you a lion?" which is a LinkedIn open networker. Click like and add your email address in the comments.
I'm disconnecting now. I'm disconnecting.
That's a great example where you'd be like, see ya. Over promoting your company. So I think it's important to get a good mix of your own thoughts and a representation of your company as well. Yeah. You know, we're big advocates for our employees to use what we post on our MHR LinkedIn. But it's also good to get a good balance as well, so you don't look like a corporate machine.
Some companies do this really well. I think we do this very well. I think a lot of other companies I've seen, they clearly have a system where they're distributing their posts out to other companies so they can promote them, and it also keeps you on brand and stuff. I think that's really good. And I think having your own employees talk about how much, you know, what we do is really, really effective. That's why clearly a load of companies do it. I think the worry is when you're doing it too much, it just looks like you don't care. Or it it looks disingenuous.
Oh, completely agree.
Okay.
And just a final one that we've got is inappropriate posting, inappropriate language. Avoid oversharing. Although we're talking about creating a personal brand, this isn't a personal platform.
Yeah.
Just be mindful of what you are putting on there. I think we're not saying to completely close that off, but ensuring that, you know, it's all kept within a professional manner, if you like. And inappropriate language obviously fits into that category as well. You know, avoid using obscene, vulgar words or making remarks that are offensive or racist, unprofessional or controversial, very importantly. I think whilst I vehemently would still stick to this is one of those examples where I think that is becoming a little bit looser. You know, I'm seeing more people talk a bit more colloquially and using swear words and things on LinkedIn. Again, that can kind of come down to the person. That tends to be people that don't work in bigger organisations. I think when you work in a bigger organisation, you have a bigger responsibility to be mindful of working within their guidelines and expectations, versus if you are a single person, self-employed. You ultimately make your own rules on that one. But I do still think that there needs to be some serious considerations there.
Okay, so lots to consider there then. I think it's nice to actually get some informed advice from a marketer such as yourself on LinkedIn practice. I've improved mine. But also, I think we can all agree on the bits that we've seen. Right, like I think we're being quite nice about it in this podcast for the sake of professionalism. But there are some very poor examples of people using it wrong and making it a bit weird. On that note, we've had our producer segment come in for the week. Are you ready? We should have like a swoosh sound effect.
We need a bit of something, don't we?
Producer segment. Whoosh.
Pop that in.
I don't know. They'll magic it later. So Tom has shared with us a series of interesting LinkedIn posts from individuals.
Ooh.
And I'm going to read them out to you. And I want you to tell me what you think they're really trying to say. What's the subtext? Because it's all a bit fake and a bit cringeworthy. You ready? First one.
Yes.
I'm going to take the names out. We don't know
Let's
them,
be polite.
but,
Let's be polite, shall we?
I don't need people on my LinkedIn coming at me.
No.
Right, so the first one was a post from a guy who said, around 15 years ago, I needed to use a pen that was near my boss's desk. And so I asked him if it was his. And he replied, no, it's not mine. It's yours. And only now do I realise that I've been blessed with some incredible managers. So, don't seek a great job. Seek a great manager.
That's horrendous.
Man's after a promotion, isn't he?
I was gonna say something quite inappropriate then about where his head is, but yeah, that's somebody after a little bit of something.
5,000 likes would disagree with you.
Yeah, but it'll be people that have found it insightful, that are spamming themselves. Great post, Joseph, I'll call him.
Yeah, we'll call him that.
Let's connect.
Yeah, the next one, you ready for this one? This is nice.
Go on.
What a morning. Today on my morning run, I was hit by a car. Car emoji. When the lady got out, she said, not today. I was in pain. I was a little annoyed, but I said, it's okay. What's wrong? Turns out that she was having an awful morning and needed someone to listen while she got stuff off her chest. Remember, before we shout and judge, let's understand how and why something has happened. P.S. I haven't had my sympathy yet, but feel free to give me some. Get in the bin.
That is one of the worst posts I think I've ever seen. With all due respect, okay, so this woman may be having a hard day. That's fine, don't we all?
But remember,
such is the modern world. But why would you be so calm, supposedly, if you were hit by a car?
Because not all of us are champions, Emma, where, you know what, water off a duck's back. I don't mind.
We're believers and achievers.
Listen to your problems. Anyway, I've been hit by a car.
Producers just jumped in and said, don't think she was driving fast enough.
Yeah, let's...
Couldn't agree more. Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree more.
That was fishing for, oh, you okay?
Oh my God, you're so brave.
Yeah. Right, next one. Next one. This is the last one, right? You know what? This one is by someone called Joseph. I just won't give the last name. But you were right. It's a Joseph.
Oh, we do have a Joseph.
Yeah. This is genius. I'm going to read it out.
Oh, no.
Just felt I needed to post a quick rant about the mobile application Tinder. I've really lost faith in the algorithm. Why? What? Why I, Joseph, name redacted, am having trouble getting matches is beyond me. I am an inspiring, top-tier IBD analyst, brackets, incoming Lazard, something technical, right? So something about his job, right? Exclamation mark. Maybe I should work as advisory for them and sort this issue out. Slanty face, like with the brackets down thing. Hashtag midnight thoughts. Hashtag mammoth.
I have a lot to unpack here.
I think Joseph needs a lot.
Firstly, mammoth.
Yeah.
Is this some sort of technical reference, or is he referring to himself as a mammoth? Either way, gross. And, sweetie, it's not that you should work as an advisory, it's that you are clearly not appealing to people.
No, I don't think...
Calling yourself top tier, get in the bin.
I don't think you get it. I don't think you get it. I don't think people understand Joseph, and I don't think...
Do you just think he's misunderstood?
I think you're not understanding, right, to be frank, that the potential that Joseph has as a technical IBD analyst is wasted, and there is an opportunity for Tinder to learn how to be better, because clearly Joseph knows what's going on. And if no one's matching with Joseph on Tinder, well, that can't be a him problem, can it?
No.
Clearly the software's broken.
And if he's thinking about this at #midnight, what else could he be producing in the day?
He could be doing lots more at midnight.
His best thoughts, you know?
Yeah, he could be roaming the streets looking for all those matches, right? But thank goodness he's at home looking at technical issues for the software. Otherwise, he could be doing some real damage.
Oh,
thank you, Joseph, for being so applied. I hope Tinder is listening.
And thank you, assistant to the producer, Tom Flynn. Your signature this week is probably one of the best ones, which is your favourite LinkedIn influencer.
Yeah. He's also signed off the email with tall, dark and handsome and shared his LinkedIn profile. Thank you. Tom Flynn, everybody. There we go.
#assistant to the producer, #networking,
Great.
#brand.
I'm going to put it out there. We do this every week. We share these videos. Obviously, if you like us on MHR, you'll see these videos go. If you watch this one, or if you're listening to this now, actually, you know what? Find us on LinkedIn. Find MHR. Find the video. Find my profile. I would love for you to share me your list of really embarrassing LinkedIn posts or people that you work with that you can't stand and how they post it.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see them. Please share them. We'll use it.
We will redact all names and be, GDPR sensitive, just to put that disclaimer in there. We are an HR company after all.
Potentially.
Depends what mood I'm in, I guess.
On that note, I thought that was a really interesting topic. There's a lot to talk about with LinkedIn and social media. We could probably do a few more episodes. We probably will.
I'm sure we will.
But I think that's a nice starter for 10.
Absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you, Emma.
Yeah, thank you.
If, like I said, you are listening, please listen to our previous episodes. We've got loads of them there. If you are listening right now, find us, share those posts. I really want to see them. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week.
I'll talk to you next week. Thanks, everybody.
In a bit.